One of the big fundamental points that makes the lower weight division so rewarding to follow is the simple fact that they function. Fights get made when they make sense. The acceptable window in which they should be made official is pretty much always honoured. Case in point, Naoya Inoue, the monster, having only recently dispatched Marlon to Parles to become undisputed at 122, has got his sights set on 3 fights for 2024. That is great. Number 1 on the hit list, Mexican Luis Nery. And as I understand, they're looking to put this one in the Tokyo Dome, which, correct me if I'm wrong, hasn't been used for boxing since James Buster Douglas upset Iron Mike Tyson. Nery, known as Pantera, not to be confused with the 90s heavy metal band, is 29, dimensions a little bit closer to Inoue's, who usually enjoys the reach advantage, and you'd probably say is about the 3rd best super bantamweight in the world right now, after that tremendous victory over Azat Havanesian. And what that real slugfest of a victory showed as well, importantly, is that despite getting folded by Brandon Figueroa a few years ago now, Nery hasn't lost his bottle. He is going to bring it in this fight, and for me, what makes this interesting, of course, you've got the power, you've probably got the most potent offensive threat since the Donaire fights. He's going to go for it. He very well may walk onto a very sharp counter. His defense isn't the best, but this is going to be an exciting one. Out of the options I gave people, I did say as well, please specify for other, which nobody did. Well done. But still, we've got MJ there, Akhmadaliev at the top in terms of the most wanted opponent for Inoue. In terms of any kind of perceived threat, I think that about adds up in the sense that he's probably number 2 right now after Inoue has blown through a couple of them. And then we have Nery. So the plan very much seems to be to try and wipe out 1-2-2, at least the top 4-5 guys, which is pretty good going. But what we inevitably end up doing as fans when dealing with such an exciting, destructive fighter is we start looking at future opponents just like levels in a video game that he's just going to easily complete. It's like, this is reality. He still is in the ring, taking shots. There's always the potential with these guys now, who are good fighters, Nery, Akhmadaliev. If there's even just a 10% chance they might win, you keep consistently fighting good fighters with no filler, at some point you are going to encounter a crisis again. You're going to get caught with a big shot you didn't see coming. You're going to maybe suffer a bad cut. Things are going to become complicated. It's just maths. And of course, in terms of giving Inoue his proper due and saying, look, you're adding to your resume, we've got to acknowledge these guys are good fighters who are technically younger than the monster. They are set to make a lot of money. If they happen to beat the monster, they would make so much in a rematch. We can't just keep putting little crosses on them like, yeah, let's get to featherweight, let's get to lightweight. It's not realistic. These are good guys. They're rough and ready. Inoue knows he has to be at 100% every time. That's why he's so effective. Back to Nery now. Of course, he had that fight against Shinsuke Yamanaka. And just scrolling down here. So it was in 2017, wasn't it? He got busted for Zilpaterol. Banned substance, blamed it on the Mexican beef. Came back and managed to dispatch Yamanaka in 2 rounds. But there's that little dirty mark there. It's, where there's smoke, there's fire. Is he still on anything? And I know with the way Japan is, Inoue will be looking at that as righting a wrong, preserving someone else's honor, samurai style. So there's a little bit of potential needle going into this one. Nery talks a good fight. I like the line he said about he's going to take the mask off the monster. Again, he is going to bring it. Technical deficiencies and just how technically polished and quick Inoue is seems to say these are going to be the things which will decide the winner. But again, this is interesting. Like the ticker tape and stand well back. If Tapales' more reserved and tactical approach ultimately led to defeat anyway, then why not go for an all-out attack? Choose your moments, and then that is one thing Nery is very good at. They might be not quite as quick as Inoue's hands, they might not be as precise, but he does get you into a little bit of a cyclone of leather. He will just keep throwing with bad intentions. Not many Inoue victims, opponents, fit that bill. So, okay, May, it's a little bit off as things stand, but all is forgiven if you remain active. That's what we expect of champions. 3 times a year really is the sweet spot. It'll be great to see the Tokyo Dome lit up if that is where this fight is going to take place. And then while we shouldn't really, but of course we can't help ourselves doing, looking ahead, I have heard the plan might then be to fight Akhmadaliev, possibly in Saudi. This is very interesting. If the Saudis are going to be giving up their money, and I've seen as a rumour to the tune of 69 million for a super bantamweight, that is an absurd amount that kind of weight division has never even sniffed at. Whether it's true or not, Inoue is set for the kind of superstardom that Eddie Hearn over here in the UK said wasn't possible. Inoue, if he keeps winning, if he keeps being exciting, and as I said, if he does make it to 126, that base level for the casuals to pay attention, and he keeps producing knockouts, at that point it's going to be checkmate. It's going to be, look what I'm doing. And at that point, he very probably, undisputably, will be the best on the planet. But what do you all make of these plans? They sound so good, but of course we have the confidence that they're going to go ahead because the team behind Inoue, that weight division, and the fact he's such a money fighter, it seems incredibly easy to make these fights. And if we're going to get Nery, Akhmadaliev, and then possibly a Casemiro near the end, that is another great year.